photography. At Marshall, the subject is always trying to act out an image of the ideal self, allowing people to portray themselves using music and fashion, where how they feel expresses them and becomes part of their identity. As Malcolm McLaren recalls, people sit on the bus or hang around in coffee bars with an album on display to show everyone what type of music they were into, that they were members of this secret society, showing how important it is for people to become a part of subculture and create connections with others of the same interest. Focusing on two bodies of work, one called The Osmonds by Martin Parr and the other called The Disciples by James Mollison, this presentation will look to show the way in which both sets of fans are represented based on the subculture they are connected to and how the images are interpreted to feature their character. As David Bates suggested, the work of photography should be the unmasking of appearances, not making myths through appearance, implying that the images express the individual's identity in terms of the subculture they belong to, as the images capture the character of the person through their appearance, attitude and interest, raising the questions: how is a visual image of someone formed from a style of music, and what does the image mean in terms of culture? Sarah Thompson best describes subculture. Sarah Thompson best describes subculture as ideologies by which youth imagine their own and other social groups, asserting their distinctive character and affirming that they are not anonymous members of an undifferentiated mass, showing that youth form their appearance based on characteristics that resemble their interests and implying that they build a society from it. As Thornton said, in terms of musical authenticity is perceived as a cure for alienation because it offers a feeling of community, giving the sense that the interest in music unites people who hold similarity in what they are influenced by. From this, the fashion portrays the interest and knowledge to others that surrounds them. This informs others that have the same interest and similar appearance that they are interested in the same music, turning the fashion into a uniform, while also expressing their difference to anyone who isn't a member of the group. However, at the same time, they also strive to be different from the others in the subculture, to create an identity that becomes more about a member of subculture, an expression of themselves compared to everyone else. As Thornton explained, members of subculture build the interaction of people perceived of themselves with others' view of them to form a unique look that portrays them differently to others. In 1973, Martin Parr created a project based on 5 female fans of the Osmonds because he was interested in the ordinary life. He went to observe and record people's values, attitudes and the trivia they possess and discussed. In these images, Parr manages to read subculture into the subject of his work to show its dominance within society at the time. Due to the feminist subculture in the fashion and style on display in the images, this work was shown in the 2012 exhibition Glam, the performance and style at the Tate Liverpool Gallery, through collaboration with other artists to show the high and low culture or plane of identity, alongside photographs to emphasise the continuing influence of glam on the contemporary imagination, where Parr's images portrayed the fashion influence by glam being worn in 1967 through a documentary format. This image in particular connotes a female fan stood in a rundown housing estate who is dressed in an outfit that she designed herself to appear, in Parr's words, as a hippie, meaning that she is seen to be rejecting convention, so is seen as going against the majority of society's persuasion. Supported by wearing a sunflower, as stated by David Simonelli, adult norms were opposed in what was thought to be a strong individuality that was usually found in thrift shops when trying to achieve a flower revolution, showing that whoever wears a flower is passively in rebellion against adult authority, like at the punk scene, while also supporting images and writing that illustrates her love for the Osmonds, giving the impression that as Agnes Rockamora and Alfred O'Neill voice, these images show real fashion coming from the streets, implying that the fashion at the time is centred on what people come up with themselves, while the gaze implies that the person is looking at the viewer through a direct gaze at the camera, building a connection with the audience, as Susan Kismaric and Eva Raspini say, creating the impression of everyday contemporary lifestyle being recorded as fashion as it is, telling us that the clothing expresses their opinion and interest. To put this in context, the country was going through a time classed as Thatcherism, where a large amount of the country's industries were being closed down by the then Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher, as she wanted people to take control of their own lives, resulting in helping cripple the country more from what was started by the previous government, bringing into account the strength of the girls' confidence to show strength of women who had the most power at the time due to Margaret Thatcher being in charge, while the girl rebels against society. On the other hand, Jane Mollison documents subculture through music fans by creating the photo book project The Disciples, giving the impression from the title that has become common in society that the fans are followers of a god known as celebrity culture. Between 2004 and 2007, Mollison photographed fans outside different concerts, as he was fascinated by the different tribes of people that attended them and how people emulate celebrity to form their identity, conveying that people are taking part of their desired celebrities' style to help portray themselves. In each image, Mollison portrayed the fans that had the most extravagant image or who appeared to look more like the musicians they were there to see on the night. Here the fans are all shown to be wearing black clothing and excessive makeup associated with the goth subculture, forming their appearance to be mixed in with the performing band Marilyn Manson. Over a vast range of images taken outside the gig with a portable studio, select amounts were mobbed together into rows of 8 to 10 people forming a queue, depicting the reason why they were there that night. This brought in the idea that people are part of a clique who have the same interests and style of identity, beginning to show how the concert becomes events for people to come together with surrogate families, a chance to relive their youth or try and be part of a scene that happened before they were born, saying that the reason for subculture is to bring together all the people who are the resemblance in their style to help them make connection with like-minded people. At the same time, the removal of the strangers makes it that the viewer is drawn to the style and fashion before looking to the people's faces, where you get a direct gaze from the people connoting a sense of confidence and identity to represent people from a variety of communities. Thus, fashion and music share the potential for expression of the self and the community of which one originates, allowing people to portray an identity that they feel represents them and that will express how they feel more clearly within society. Martin Pardy Osmond and Jane Mollison's Disciples don't hold many similarities. However, both projects are portraiture focusing on the clothing being worn and what the person photographed interests are shown as being. As Fortin explained, subcultural capital fuel rebellion against, or rather escapes from, the trappings of parental class. This brings in the sense of subculture and the fans wanting to express themselves through their favourite artists rather than follow what they are being told to do. While the two projects hold many more differences, the main one being that the two projects were created for different reasons. Parr having the idea of subculture read into his images, whereas Mollison is focused on the understanding of subculture. However, with Parr's imagery, you get more information from the image being a part of subculture due to the surroundings being included, telling the viewer this is what these girls wear daily, except for the pictures used as accessories. The clothing suggests the girl could be a fan of any artist around at the time, whereas with Mollison, the context in the image is removed due to the white background, so you don't know whether the people dress like it regularly or if it is just something they wear for concerts. It is so clear that the people are fans of Marilyn Manson as they form their identity to turn them into him, enforcing Chris Rojak's point that celebrities are seen as godlike people who exist in a realm above the rest of us, meaning that the celebrities are what subculture look to leaders who live above the rest of us. So the subcultures aspire to be like them through turning themselves into the chosen celebrity. Overall, identity has become a prominent part of today's society, especially when it comes to expressing yourself, where the idea of subculture has taken on extremes in which people appear more over time as their idols, or in a style familiar to a subculture that they are part of. Moreover, they tend to create a response from many that is mainly unpopular. In both these projects, both photographers try to combat the stigma that is seen, through Mollison looking to understand and explain what he finds in a simple and clear format that can be related to by the viewer. On the other hand, Parr looks to show the participants as a person who uses their identity to express their opinion and support what they believe, bringing about the idea of a face beyond the styles to give more of a human characteristic to what is usually seen as ideal and suggested Every subculture breeds its own moral panic. Every moral panic is stereotyped, saying that a subculture gives an identity but is not really accepted by society. As Bayers Apollostone's work explains out to be in the book, it is surprising and funny and mortifying. There are musical acts I know and others that I have never heard of, and their fans are all fascinating. This is thought-provoking, as another recounts. The photos are shown need no words, even though the name of the bands that the fans are from are at the bottom of each page. Most of the time you don't even need to read the name to know what band is being represented, reiterating that the people are displaying the idea that artists of our style so much that what you see when looking at the person is the music.
Thank you, Dana. And some really, really fascinating observations in the visual analysis that you make of both Parr and Morrison's work. I think one of the main things that I feel about the presentation, and this is a practice thing, is that you're so sort of engrossed in reading that it becomes very hard for us as an audience to be as engaged as we should be, because it's actually a really fascinating presentation.
I'll just say in front good and it just goes automatically at there with you.
Say that again, sorry?
If I'm like just looking at people, I'll just go all for in my head and don't remember any of it though.
Oh, of course. Well,
just look above people, don't look at people.
Yeah, and it's not, you don't have to remember it.
Yeah.
You don't have to remember it. It's just do try to practice.
Yeah.
And I think all of you guys, over the next week or so should get together in groups, if not as a whole club, because it might be a bit more tricky to organise. But do get together and practice your delivery. I think the main thing is pace. You're moving very fast, and try to alter your expression as well. You're very sort of yes. Mono something. No.
Yeah, one of those,
You're kind of reading like this, and it's all very sort of on the same tone, and it's all very sort of fast and like that. And actually what you're saying is incredibly interesting. The other thing as well that I would sort of suggest just in terms of delivery is PowerPoint itself. I think could do with a little bit of tweaking. Maybe experiment. Maybe try one PowerPoint without using a theme.
Yeah.
Those PowerPoint themes, I think, guys, can often be really overpowering and detract from your presentation. And I'm also just a bit. I don't think there are some sort of slides I thought were really unnecessary. You kind of have a slide of questions at the beginning.
Yeah.
You don't need to have that. I don't think you need your subculture slides. I mean, reconsider, I could be wrong, it's your presentation. And your factors and context slides as well. These sorts of headings that you're putting up there, it's all in the paper.
Okay.
There are a couple of other things as well that I was a bit unsure about. I think there was a slide that had something like include a Manson image. Was that just a note to yourself?
Yeah, that's because it's just black at the moment, so I don't want to put there, so I'm pretty there, yeah.
And you had something called comparison too.
Yeah, I'm trying to put it so that I've got the two images that I was talking about together on the same one.
Yeah, I mean you can do a comparison. Just make sure they kind of they're captioned correctly. That's the other thing I was really curious about, captions. Did Martin Parr have any captions for his images?
The series, it's just 5 images, so there's the Osmond fans.
Okay, so there's no individual caption for each image, it's just the Osmond fans. Well then I thought it was very strange how you had these words next to one of his images that said hippie and rejecting convention.
Yeah.
What was that? Were they just sort of key things that you thought came out in the work? Tell us about why those sorts of readings might be seen in the work. You don't need to have those words next to the image.
Putting a title, I mean, you just got to assume that people don't know anything about your topic. So, the title of the work, the year that it was made, just really kind of spell it out. I found, as you moved, we were about a third of the way in and you started talking about kind of the social context. For me, I always want that first. I always sort of want to look at the big picture to kind of understand the context of the period that we're talking about and then sort of move into the case studies. And I think that teased out.
Okay.
I don't know whether you mentioned the calm, but that's kind of what I was thinking about when you were talking about, that we aspire towards this kind of whole image of ourselves. There was a sort of quote around that at the beginning, and I thought that was very interesting, and it helped embed what becomes more of a kind of a social survey later on in the talk into a sort of a more dense sort of theoretical position. So it may just be, take out some of the more descriptive stuff at the end and actually sort of just try and emphasise more of those. And discuss your quotes. Whenever you, and this is for everyone, whenever you use a quote, you must always discuss it and tease it out. Even if, you do that in an essay, obviously, but you also need to do that in a presentation.
That's really good advice, especially the bit about the context around Thatcherism, because there's sort of, you make these really salient points about Thatcherism, and you could have probably kind of gone into a bit more detail about that, but then you kind of say, and then you kind of make this comparison to James Mollison and Diamond Mollison, who was making that work over the last few decades, completely, it's sort of a really strange disjuncture. So.
Yeah.
Any comments or questions back? Good stuff.